Okay.
Okay then, so I had a Catman and a Scot over there. The right finger. It's the front on camera. So I had a Catman and a Scot. I'm going to do a lovely interview now with Mark from Dead Demons. How you going, Mark?
Hey. Hi guys, all right, how are we doing?
Not bad at all, pal. Not bad at all. Good to see you.
Good. And you, mate. It's actually finally nice to see put the face to the voice and the messages.
Yeah, it's to be fair, it's for quite a while. People would come and say, I went to, I've been at a gig and you were there, but I never saw you. And that's because they didn't know what I looked like. Because for ages, I never used to put photos up of myself for obvious fucking reasons. I mean, I've got a face for radio, but then Tina Sherwood blew it because she started going to gigs and then she started taking photos and putting up in social media. And then people were going, I did fucking speak to you. I just didn't realize it was you.
Oh, bless. That's that was Tina all over, wasn't it? Bless her. And I know that I know it's a big a big gap that's been left in the whole even in the music industry, even for grassroots bands, it is a huge hole that's been left. And was sorry to hear about Tina losing her life, and but she was a character, and she did us the honor of obviously making you publicly known, John, and so many bands as well.
Yeah, she certainly did, mate. Yeah, I mean, as Pretty Babs said, I think when they did the Destination Festival, they actually put it that whenever they do a gig, at some point they look out in the crowd and they're looking for her without even thinking about it. They said it's just weird still doing gigs and she's not there.
Yeah. It is. I mean, Sheffield way, it was always the same. I know she didn't come from Sheffield, did she? She was
originally from Norfolk, I think. She was from Norfolk, but she lived in Nottinghamshire.
Yeah. So it was, but Sheffield seemed to be a thriving hub, and it was. But you're right. Every time we played at Corporation, you did just instinctively look for her, and even we're playing in a few weeks' time at the Corporation with Absolver, and we will be looking for her. I know, I'm sure she will be there in spirit, and shouting and barking orders and taking photos and
well, it'll actually suit her because she can actually go to every gig she always wanted to go to. Where
she can now.
She couldn't do that before. So yeah, it's probably is. So anyway, mate, let's talk about your band. So let me do the old sales trick on you, which is give me your elevator pitch. So that's basically you've got roughly a minute to tell anybody watching this who's never seen the band or heard the band who Dead Demons are and what you're all about.
Okay, stop, watch, go. Yeah,
go on, mate.
Okay, so Dead Demons, they are a heavy rock band from South Yorkshire. We've just finished our second EP, Trial by Fire, which I'm hoping everybody's going to say is production-wise is so much better than the first one. Our music it's all about experiences or our ideas, and it's usually tied with mental health. Mental health's a big thing for us, but more importantly, when we get out on stage, we give you absolutely everything. We are there 110%. I know a lot of bands will say that, but I'm sure Phil can vouch that every time we get on stage, every time he's seen us, we've given absolutely everything, and you can see the absolute joy on our faces every time we play. It doesn't matter where, doesn't matter when. We like to try and bring it out. Influences wise, you're talking the old-fashioned heavy metal bands, Judas Priest, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden. Chris is a big fan of Zakk Wylde, and Pete's a fan of Van Morrison, but we won't talk about that.
Don't talk about that. It's boring as shit.
But myself, it's always been about, with the budget that you've got, putting on a great show as much as you can, and then the best way to put that across is to make sure that you're having a good time. We've always worn it on our sleeve that if you don't like it, we can't help you. The door's over there. That's it's just the way we always have operated.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think that's how it should be. You're there to entertain. It's like what I say in my radio show. I play the music I like, and I won't play anything that I don't like. And It's a bit like the Scottish weather. If you don't like what it's just now, just wait 5 minutes, it'll be different. And that's my approach. I just do the same thing. Look, if you don't like the majority of what I play, go and listen to somebody else. And I think that is the right way. Too many times bands try to go chase an audience, you know, or in this case, like Facebook group audiences and specific ones. And I think it's nonsense. Play the bloody music that's in your heart and your head. And then try your best to find an audience. I think you're doing your attitude's exactly right, mate.
Yeah, I do think it helps. Sorry, Phil, go on.
No, I was just saying that's exactly what I do on my own show as well. I play the music I like. If I like it, I play it. I don't care how big the band is, how small the band is. I don't care if they've only been around for a week. If it's good, I'll play it.
I think it does help that we are of a. I mean, not myself, obviously. You know, I'm look at this youthfulness that just drips off of me. But I think it does help that we are a fairly bit of an older band. I mean, you look at the guys, and you would say that they've probably been out there and been around the block and done quite a few things. But with that, there is no attempt to chase commercialism. There's no attempt to try and chase the mainstream. We put music out to the mainstream, you know, a couple of radio stations that are on the mainstream, but we know in reality they're probably not going to play. And to be honest, we don't care. It is the radio stations like Voodoo Radio and Scotland Rocks and things like that play our kind of music, and you want people listening to that to go, do you know what? They're all right. Yeah, they're not bad. Oh, they're in the pub next week. Oh, I'll go and have a look. That's
what is really funny is when you mentioned all the bands that influenced you. So I'm just going to quickly read you some notes from having listened to what we're going to talk about soon, your EP, and I'm going to name the bands that I picked up on. So I put Sabbath, and specifically some of it for the Ronnie James Dio Sabbath. I put Biff Byford and Saxon. I put Maiden. I put Judas Priest. Maiden again, and even in the last song, I even put a little bit of Diamond Head in there. So I did not bad with my bingo there, didn't I?
The Diamond Head's Brian Tatler now, into it's all that into that's what we hope. That's what Johnny looks like now. He just looks like a leather purse.
It's a good look, mate. It's a good look. Gets you a long way in South Yorkshire, that.
I mean, John, pretty much read out my own list, really. You know, the same. I was getting exactly the same thing. Maybe a little bit of witch find in there as well. Remember witch find? Or are you too young to remember witch find?
Me, I'm far too young to remember witch find. But
I don't even remember. Hey, I'm 62 and I don't even remember them.
I mean, I'm going way, way, way back to 1980, something like that, when they released the Give 'Em Hell album. You know, there's I get a little bit of that. You know, not total, but you know that mixed with your Sabbath, your Judas Priest.
Oh yeah, I mean, I do a little bit of moonlighting with a form of witch find, a band called Abattoir. With Tracy Abbott from Overdrive. So yes. So when I did hear it and Tracy introduced it to me, it was the Steve Bridges vocals in there are very, very, very similar. I mean, Chalky went down a different route, which worked for the band, but and then they went on to Harry Harrison, and again it went down a different route. But the Steve Bridges side, absolutely, I would agree with you there, and that's. Yeah. But yeah, going back to the list that you've just called out, John. Basically, they're pretty much from my perspective. I mean, I've talked about Chris with his guitar influences of Zakk Wylde, and obviously you can tell there's a lot of other influences in there, like Adrian Smith, and we'll go as far as saying like KK Downing and things like that. But for me, for vocal wise, it started with Bruce Dickinson. I mean, I heard the scream. I'm 34 in October, so 1989 is when I was born. So the era for heavy metal had already kind of gone. By the time I got to that age, it was more about emo bands and Green Day and those sorts of things back in the mid-noughties. But I heard the Run to the Hill single, and the screams out of that was just, it was, and I knew then I wanted to sing like him. And now, being 20 years on, I don't want to sing like him anymore. I've got the influences. I love the influences. I love how Bruce sounded. I love the intricate workings of RJD. I love Rob Halford's absolutely ear-piercing screams. I love every single bit. But I don't sound like them, and they don't sound like me. There is influences in there, but I want to be me. I want people to listen to it and go, oh, that sounds a little bit like, but they know that it's me.
That's exactly what it sounded like, Mark, because it's like, you know, because you're a bit like Witchfind, because I think Witchfind went through the same sort of thing, which is they were lumped in with the new wave of British heavy metal movement, and literally it was a couple of songs that sounded like that, and the rest it was pure rock. Yeah. So they kind of suffered for that. But with you have guitar wise, you remind me of new wave of British heavy metal, sort of guitar wise, but your vocals don't, and I like that. I like things that are mixed genres. I like things. My favorite music, and if you've listened to the radio show, you've heard me say it loads of times, is where people put things together that sometimes shouldn't even really go together, but somehow it works. And I like that. I mean, I was surprised when you described yourself as a rock band, but I think you are vocally. But I think guitar-wise and all that, but it's the vocals that makes the overall sound. As an ex-singer, I would say that. But it's the vocals. So you are a rock band, but for anybody that hasn't heard the band, the riffs are brilliant. They are proper Sabbathy, and and all sorts of. And I mean, like, not they change quite a lot in the song. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about the EP if you want.
Yeah.
And if we can walk through it, the different songs, tell us a bit about them for your perspective, and then Phil and I can give your opinion of the songs if we feel that we need to.
Okay. Yeah. Where'd you like to start?
Devil May Care.
Oh, yeah. We're starting with a good one. You don't want to go pick one of the lesser ones, and then we can work his way up.
No, Devil May Care. Yeah, I just put the first riff just reminds me of Ronnie James Dio, Sabbath era. It just reminded me of that. And then when you come in, it reminded me a bit more of Biff Byford, if I'm being honest with you. That's what I wrote. But the track itself is absolute. I mean, it's somebody that's an old, I'm 62, so I was around. I was an adult when they came around, you know what I mean? Yeah. I saw Maiden in the early days. I saw all these bands. So for me, it's like, but the thing is, it sounds heritage. It's not sound legacy for you. So it doesn't sound like you're ripping anybody off. It just sounds like you've taken.
I'll tell Chris that. He'll be pleased to hear that.
Yeah, no. Seriously, that's what I got out of it anyway.
Yeah. So it's funny really, because every time we do go into the rehearsal rooms and we do start looking at a new song, we'll sit and listen, and we'll listen to, because how it normally works is Chris comes in with a riff, and sometimes he'll have a few lyrics, and then we'll work from there. And every time we'll sit there now, and we'll sit there and we'll go, "You've robbed that. You've taken that from such and such and such." So it's every time, and he'll go, "No, I haven't. I haven't." He's like a toddler. He's like, "No, I haven't. I haven't stolen it." But Devil May Care was it was a fantastic track. It was a great track. It was the second track that we built out of this for this EP, and it came from. So the first one was Another Space in Time, which we released in a single many moons ago, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So, but basically, this was the new lineup for Dead Demons that we wanted to get out in its fullness. And like you said, John, there are things in there, especially compared to the last EP, that are completely different. You can tell that we do have a different sound on the lower end and on the drums, but I've grown as a vocalist, and Chris has grown as a guitarist. Chris has grown more confident, and so for Devil May Care vocal, I mean, the first thing that came to light was Johnny, and Johnny basically said, "Oh, I've got a great idea to put into this," and he put that like a swing rhythm in, and it was wow, that really works. Those swing drums sound like, if you take them and isolate them, they shouldn't be there. It doesn't work, but it so beautifully does, and it was And then for me, vocally, I was doing it clean. It was very, very clean, very clean. It was, I'm not getting across how not angry, but how, yeah, I mean, pissed off I should be. So the idea behind Devil May Care was basically a stab at people from the first EP, basically saying that we were crap, we'd never make it, we'll never get anywhere, we'll never do anything, you know. And during lockdown, you had a lot of time to think about that, and this was basically a song sticking a middle finger up at them, just saying, well, I'll tell you what, if you don't like it, leave, you know, and we'll carry on playing, you know, the music that we're enjoying and these people are so clearly enjoying, you know. But yeah, I mean, the changes in it, so the swing feel for it, and then to come in and kind of cut all that out and just have the straights in, that's why the growls came from, because it was, you know, it was like, this song is quite heavy, quite vicious, but it can't have me just going twisted lies, twisted fate. It doesn't work. So it was, okay, I need to change how this works, and that's where those vocals came from, really, that style.
Well, it works, mate, because it's clean. It's clean sounding, but there's feeling in it, there's emotion in it. And that's not easy to do. It's to sing it quite clean, but still get across the message and the passion behind it. So, you know, you did well with that. I think it's a great track. It was the first one I listened to, and I was like, wow, well, I'm looking forward to the rest of the EP. Right, go on, Phil, you pick one now, mate.
Oh, go on, Matt, pick us one.
Oh, I'll tell you what, we'll get the one that's no, we'll save the best for last. I'll talk about Trial by Fire, because that was, ironically, although that is the title track for the EP, that was actually the last one that we did. So again, it was kind of going back to when we started out, and we had Chris Jackson on the drums for the first EP and Richard Towler for the bass. And then as soon as the More Tuesday Monia was recorded, Chris Jackson kind of said, I can't do this anymore. I know you've met Sid a couple of times, Phil, and he's opposed to it. Yeah. And he just obviously, I know you guys know how hard it is to be a postman anyway, but to then turn up after walking 14 miles a day to then go and play a gig, you know, after playing a gig the night before, you could see it was, I mean, I could do with, you know, a little bit more exercise like that, but it was killing him. And so he decided to put sticks down. So we had somebody else come on. He didn't work out. That was Terry. He didn't work out. He was a bit of a disaster. There was something wrong. It didn't. The band didn't feel right. We all felt that the band didn't feel right. Richard, we had to let Richard go simply because he didn't want to do Dead Demons. So we brought Pete Harriman on. Again, John, unfortunately, mate, you're a bit far away, but Phil will know Pete from WizKid days and his Love Hunter Whitesnake tribute legacy. Mm-hmm. So rounding Doncaster, Pete Harriman is a legend amongst men. You know, and so we brought him in, and when Terry went, we struggled to find another one. Terry came back, then Terry left again, and then Johnny jumped on board. Complete freak. Terry decided to announce to us in Leeds that he was going, and he said, "No, I'm done." It's like, we've got gigs booked in, we've got studio tracks booked in. You can't just leave us like this. And he went, "Well, I am, because I'm selling my drum kit tomorrow." And as it so happens, Johnny and Shelley had gone to see Wayward Sons at the Wardrobe, and they'd cancelled. So they'd looked for the next best thing. Oh, there's a rock band on at Duck and Drake, and the rest is history. Oh yeah, I'm a drummer. Oh, I'm from down here. Yeah, I'll give you a call. And it was the Willie, won't he? Willie, won't he? And he did. But so the line in there, the ever changing faces, was kind of the point on that. And again, it points back to, you know, this whole tradition of men stood at the back, and they are stood at the back, and they do that, and you know, and they stand and watch, and they go, "Oh, he's hit a B flat when that should have been an A sharp," and you know, and those kind of people, and it was kind of just a poke at fun, but again, there was a little serious note in there. But at the end, you know, we mean it. We do it for the fans. We do it for the music. We do it for the love that we receive time and time again. And it is like a drug. That was a personal thing for me. I cannot. I hate not gigging, and it's amazing how it feels when you're out on that stage. You'll know, John, as an ex-singer, that when they're bouncing because you said get up, let's go. There's no other feeling like it. No wonder we're all on heroin and speed and all that kind of thing, because you just can't replicate that feeling.
No, you can't. And that's why no matter how much most of us at some point are told to get out or give up on it, we fucking never do. Because it's just an itch that you just have to keep scratching. It fucking is. And it's like, even yet at 62, I still every now and again go, should I give it one more go on a stage? Should I, just for one night? Would it fucking be cool? Yeah. and at 62, I'm still fucking thinking it, you know. And bear in mind, I stopped singing with bands when I moved to England in 1991. So up until that point, from 79 to 81 to 91, I'd sang in bands in Scotland for years, original bands, only because I couldn't sing anybody else's songs. but so I used to do that. But yeah, so even yet, it's still there. You know, when I watch other bands, I went to see First Aid Kit on Monday night in Liverpool, and oh my God, I mean, whether it's your type of music or not, the quality, the pure, it was an out of body experience watching it and listening to them. It really was. And you think this, and that's the bit that anybody that hasn't been on a stage and been in a band doesn't get. And it's not about chasing fame, and you're not going to get famous now 99.99%. So you're not going to even make fucking money. It's going to cost you money. But I'll tell you what, you can't give up on the bugger. And I'll tell you what I liked about that song as well. It was the first one that was kind of slower paced. It was I felt it was a bit heavier, and it's definitely a Maiden-esque riff. I mean, I could hear Adrian Smith in it 100%. Yeah. Not that I'm saying it's not a rip-off of any song, but it's just
no.
No, it's not. But that's the notes I wrote down about it. I'll tell you one that I loved. I loved the, mainly because I'm a huge Diamond Head fan for the original Diamond Head. And that's Another Space and Time. I just think it is pure class.
Well, beautiful song.
So just before we say that, Phil, what do you reckon? We're going to get John on the stage just one more time? Get him, you know, we're going to have to get him on the stage now. He's already said it.
You know what? I think you ought to double up with you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about doubling up. No, you're putting too much pressure on me now. No. Well, hang on a minute.
I mean, you could do the first.
Just to point out, guys, it's just come up that there's 9 minutes left.
Right, okay, no.
All right, no problem. Okay. 9 minutes to midnight.
I'm too tired to upgrade.
So Another Space in Time, that we released that as a single last year, and it was and we loved it. It was the first one to come out of the old EP, and we wanted to take our time with this one. We wanted to make sure it was done over 2 days rather than just getting all 4 tracks done in. I think the 4 tracks from the original were done in 2 days. So the drummer on the track is actually Simon Hopkinson, the sound engineer from Electric Bear, because Terry let us down. So we asked Chris if he could just be our backup. So our backup let us down. He was like, I can't, I've got family emergency. No, we understand, mate, we understand. So we rung Simon and said, Simon, we're going to have to cancel for today, mate. So the single was never going to happen. And which Simon went, I play drums. Like, we can give it a go. Yeah. Oh, okay, mate, no problem. Took him an hour and a half to get the snare in the middle right. And he just couldn't get what he was doing. And it was, and being a singer to a drummer, I was going, yeah, it's rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat, rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat, and he's going, I don't get what you mean. I don't know.
I think he was just playing for time, mate. He was charging you per the hour. Fucking knew what he was doing.
He'd been paid for the day, mate, so he wanted us out the door. We paid him for the he's like, come on. So he did a cracking job on it, and it was and we end every set list with that. It's a beautiful song. It's about losing people and the memories that remain. So I lost my granddad maybe 19 years ago now, and I absolutely, you always adore your grandparents and your parents, and the thing for me is, I don't have any photos of him. I don't have photos in the house, but I remember what he looks like as a very vague figure. I remember the mustache, and I remember him. But if you were to ask me to draw a picture, it would just be like a generic person with a mustache. There's no, and it's the point that in another space and time you're always there, but these memories are fading, and it was quite an emotional song for me. I wrote Chris gave me some notes for it, and I wrote all the lyrics. And after the second verse, I says, I think we'd be dragging it on too long, and I think it would be too emotional, and I don't want it to be emotional. We still want it to have that Sabbath-esque or Diamond Head-esque sort of change into the bounce into the second part of the song, and yeah, when we play it live, everybody loves it. They can tell of the passion inside of it.
I do have to say, what a poignant moment it was at Savfest when you played that. You know, when you consider what the cause was for. Such a fitting song for such a fitting occasion it were, I thought.
Yeah. But I mean, every song, Dead Demons was built on mental health for Chris. I know Chris won't mind me talking about this, but everybody does. Chris has struggled with his mental health for all of his life, and I know for a long time I did struggle with mine. So that was what Dead Demons was built on. So to do Savfest was an honor, and it was fitting.
Yeah, that's. I think, yeah, and I can just imagine that, because I think doing any festival that's for a cause, if you totally get and understand that cause, it adds an extra dimension. It becomes 4-dimensional instead of 3-dimensional, that performance, I think. I can imagine that song in it. I mean, another one I love is Time Is Your Enemy. I thought it was a great track as well. That was the one I put. All I wrote was NWOBHM and then Biff.
Well, this might surprise you. This one might surprise you. You're right there, Phil.
Fine. She's a diva.
So Time Is Your Enemy. It might surprise you this, but the attempt on the vocals was actually more of a Metallica-ish feel. It's not quick enough to be thrash metal, but that was kind of where I ended up going with it.
Actually, I can hear that now. Now you mention it, I can actually understand that. Yeah.
But the riffs under the song is actually it was written about the Ukraine war and what's going on, and the potential of what Putin could possibly still do now. So it was a throwback to kind of 2 Minutes to Midnight, because that's what that song's about. That song's about the doomsday clock. So when Chris gave me 2 pieces of paper, and I still don't know why to this day why he gave me 2, but he says, "Oh, I've got 2 songs here, and this song is about the war in Ukraine, and this song, it had one line on it, and all it said, we feel your pain more than you'll ever know." And then he'd written on the back of it saying, we feel your pain, something. And I said, well, Chris, these are exactly the same song. For me, these need to go together. But that we feel your pain, it's not really something that I can turn into a melody. So live, I sing that after the 3rd bar. On the track, I said, I don't want to do that. I want you to shine as a guitarist, and it's not very often, I said, take the opportunity. It's not very often a singer says, I'm going to move away. You take the limelight this time.
In fact, you should be fucking throwing out. You should be throwing out the Singers Union for even contemplating it.
Yeah. Just to point out, guys, we're in the last 3 minutes here.
Okay.
So, by the way, Mark, it serves me right for just glancing at my notes. I didn't write Biff. I wrote Big Riff.
Oh, Big Riff.
Well, it's a huge riff.
I thought that's what Biff stood for. So the slowly building guitars was my idea. That there's a small key section in the middle. Again, that was my idea. It was just trying to experiment with a few things, and we had the time, and we wanted to, instead of having these crappy little things in, like, well, we feel your pain. I said, it doesn't do anything for the song on a studio track. If you hear that, and you're going to go, ugh. Whereas now it's,
We Are the World.
But
Well, it is. It's kind of smacks of that shit, doesn't it? When you get it, we are the world. All right, hammer it to fucking death. Why don't you? So I get where you're coming from. Yeah. By the way, if we're running out of time, Mark, I think it's time now to tell us about what's coming up for Dead Demons in the near future.
Okay. Yeah.
So 2.5 minutes flat.
Yeah, no problem. So for Dead Demons, we're still gigging. We've got the rest of the month off. We start with supporting Absolver at the Corporation in Sheffield on the 1st of September.
I'll
Then
try and
we're
be
on
there.
to you what? Sorry.
I said I'll try and be there.
Yes. Well, I hope to see you there. I'll be there possibly.
Yep.
On the 2nd of September, we make our way down to London to play at the Cart and Horses, the birthplace of Iron Maiden.
Oh yes.
But more importantly, the new EP Trial by Fire is released on the 6th of October on the Friday, because it's a Friday and we feel we can twiddle it in with Bandcamp and save people a bit of dollar, and we are doing a launch party in Worksop at the Dukeries Brewery on the Saturday the 7th, and then we're playing Rock the Fox at the Church House in Sheffield on this Sunday. So a full weekend that weekend.
Oh, so
your voice is going to be wrecked by Monday.
Oh yeah, I'll be knackered. I'll be done.
Okay then, so Mark Hale from Dead Demons, thank you very much for the interview. It's been an absolute pleasure, absolute privilege in fact. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Hale from Dead Demons.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, Mark.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And thank you very much for your time.
Okay, so from the Catman and the Scot, that's all for now. Take care.
Arrivederci.